YouTube. What's going on? This preacher. So, yesterday, I had an off day, right? I got home Saturday about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then my wife and I, we took her out for a date night and stuff. You know, Sunday's been to church. So Monday being my one full day off, right? My first full day off where I ain't had nothing to do. I still wound up working because I had to pay my employment taxes, right? Because you know it's June and it was due by July, so I had to pay my quarterly employment taxes. Go ahead and get that done. So I paid that. I had to get my other highway tax. I had to pay $500 for that, so I got that. So I had to get that particular kind of stuff done. So while I was in the office doing my little paperwork and stuff, I go over for my factoring company, you know, how much money that I made and when I start receiving the rest of my money, because they only give me 90% of my load. So that's what I get. I get paid 90% of the load until the broker pays them, and then I receive the rest of my money. So I got to track all that and make sure all that particular stuff is happening and I'm receiving as I start paying, because it's been a month now, right? So I've been running for basically a month. I've been running. So now they should start trickling in. And I have about $2,200 in outstanding invoice balances for the month. So I still owe, for a 30-day period of time, they still owe me like $2,200 that I finna start getting coming in probably every day or once every other day. It actually starts on the 24th, okay, which is today. All right. So I was making sure we had all that particular stuff situated with that, and I'm gonna start getting that money. So I got to follow my money. I got to try to follow my money. So I'm in the office, and then, you know, when you have your new authority, everybody know you have it. So I got dispatchers galore calling me, right? And I try to be cordial with them. I'm like, listen, I'm booking my own loads. I don't need any dispatch services, but thank you. All right. I keep saying that. And then you have these people, most of them is from India. Just be frank, they from India. They keep calling, and you try to tell them that, and they try to talk you into using them and what they could do. Well, I can get you between, you know, $7,000 to $8,000 a week. And I said, well, I'm already getting that. You getting like $7,000 a week? I'm like, yeah. No, I average between 65 and 68, you know. And the only reason why I do that is because I only go out every other week. If I was to stay out 2 full weeks, yeah, I would get that. But because I leave out of Florida on a Monday, normally those loads be between 650 and 750. Like this load here, I got a load going to Johnsonville, South Carolina, right? And that load paid me $710. And then I'm picking up in Charlotte and taking that load to Elkhart, Indiana, which is another day load, right? And that load is paying me $13.50. So because I start off at a very low rate, you know, 1 week I may only do like $6,000, but then that next week I can do $7,000, $7,100, $6,800. And then the other week that I'm out, before I start heading back, I still would hit about $6,800, $6,900 for that week too. So, but they always keep trying to say, well, you're not getting that. I said, man, I've been booking my own loads for 4.5 years. So how can you get those rates, but you don't think that I can get those rates? I said, I don't really think that those are accurate rates that you are getting. I said, because I've been booking my own loads for 4.5 years now. So I have 4.5 years of experience of booking my own loads, making that kind of money. How many years do you got booking that? Well, we could do this. I don't. I said, I'll tell you what, since you're gonna waste my time, I will email you my last 2 weeks rate cards. And once I prove to you that I'm averaging what I've said I'm averaging between 65 and 6,800 a week, you owe me $200 for wasting my time. Supervisor got on the phone. Man, I just don't think that that's possible. I said, okay, do we have an agreement? I said, send me an email that's saying that upon me sending y'all this rate con, you're going to give me $200 to prove that I'm averaging that. Now, I knew that they wouldn't. I really didn't. But after like the fourth phone call, and I should have just hang up with them. My wife was like, you better than me, I would have hung up. That's what my wife kept telling me. You better than me, I would have hung up. You better than me, I would have hung up. So I emailed him my last 2 weeks. Rate cons. And he was like, man, how are you doing that? I said, where my $200 at? He just laughed. He said, like, no, really, how are you doing that? How are you getting these rates? I said, what you mean how I'm getting these certain rates? I said, I told you I was doing this. I said, but y'all always try to go with these new companies because y'all see that they're new companies. And y'all were like, okay, I know these people don't know how to dispatch. But if I'm telling you, I've been booking my own loads for 4.5 years, getting those same particular rates for 4.5 years. Why wouldn't you take that as face value? Why, when I'm asking you, what lanes are you running to get you these loads, you don't want to tell me the lanes that you are running? You want to know my zip code, where I'm at, what lanes I like to run. No, you said that you was grossing this much. What lanes are you running that you grossing this much? They act like when you ask those questions, they can't answer those questions. Like it's a big secret. Oh, from Texas to Illinois, that lane is paying me this. That don't mean I'm going to get it. I can go to Lane Honey and put Dallas, Texas to Chicago, Illinois, and it's going to tell you how much that lane is paying. Just that simple. So I'm telling him, so why you can't tell me the lanes that you running or the areas that you are running to get it? You saying all this stuff that you getting loads for $3 to $4 a mile. What lanes or what areas are you running? Are you running the south? Are you running the northern east coast? Where are you running to get $3, $4 a mile at? Because it's hard. And I'm trying to tell him, I said, you look at those rate cons. You're going to see the same 2 people names on those rate cons. The same broker names on it, you're going to see. I said, look at them. Those same 2 brokers I've been using for 4.5 years. It's actually more than 4.5 years, but it's easy just to be like, 4.5 years, right? Because in October, it's going to be 5 years. So it's more than 4.5 years. But I'm just telling them, I said, you see the same 2 names, right? I've been messing with these brokers for the last 4.5 years. So I might get a better rate than somebody who really don't work with these brokers all the time. Because I'm using mostly TQL and CH Robinson. But I'm messing with the same reps I've been messing with for 4.5 years. So I'm like, they know me. They know I'm going to get the load there. They know I'm not going to make excuses. They know I'm going to do the load right. They know I'm going to communicate with them right. They know I'm going to do all these check-ins to make sure I'm tracking. I've been doing it for 4.5 years with them. So he was like, man, maybe I need to get you to give some tips to my staff. I was like, no. You just need to be honest with people when you calling somebody. Don't call me and tell me you can get me between $7,000 and $8,000 and you can't tell me how. Well, I got loads paying $3 to $4. Well, it's plenty of loads paying $3 to $4, but for how many miles? It's loads paying $8 a mile, but for how many miles? Then how long you got to hold on to that load? That load may pick up at 9 o'clock in the morning and deliver 6 o'clock at night. It pays you $8 a mile though, right? And that total cost is $310 you made for the day. But you got that $8 a mile. But are you trying to gross more money? And I was trying to tell him, say, you do this and we can keep you running. You can run more miles. I said, you saying I can run more miles like I get paid by the mile. I said, I don't get paid by the mile. I get paid off of gross. I said, see, this is what I'm talking about. You talking to somebody who knows this game. You can't sit here and do these little spills like you talking to somebody who don't know nothing about the business. I've been doing this for 4.5. I don't care if I do 3,500 miles. If If I do 3,500 miles a week, and you talking about that just 7,000, I'm like, okay, that's $2 a mile. What happened to that $3 to $4 a mile you talking about? Well, you said you averaging about 65 to 68, right? I said, yeah. Well, if I can average you 7,000, that's more money. I said, no, it's not. He said, yeah, it's more money. I said, no, it's not. I said, because listen, I'm a numbers person. I said, if you saying that you can get me $7,000 a week, right? He said, yeah. And if I'm doing $6,700 a week, yeah, so you make it $300 more. I said, yeah, what is your percentage of the gross you gonna take for booking those loads? Again, he got quiet. I said, exactly. See, that's what I'm talking about. So you finna take a percentage off that $7,000 that you didn't got me, and it's gonna bring me up under my average, right? I said, so if you do the math, it will bring me down to about 67 anyway. I said, so why would I pay somebody else to get me the same amount of money that I'm getting myself, booking myself? Because by the time you take your fees off, I'm down to 67, but I'm getting 67 without you. And I'm the only reason why I'm getting 67 is because I choose where I want to go. I choose the loads. I choose to not run loads over 40,000 pounds. I choose the areas that I'm going. I choose the times that I want to do. I like open windows time, so I try to choose loads with open windows. They have open windows. I don't care if it's a 2-hour open window, 3 hours of open window. I choose those particular types of loads that has open windows. So if I won't run the risk of running late if something was to happen. I know, hey, listen, as long as I get it him by this time, I'm fine. As long as I can pick this load up by this particular time, I'm fine. I said, so I already have my criteria, but just give me a week. And why everybody always say give you a week for? I said, and then you want me to send you the BOLs? Yeah, you send me the BOLs. I said, that ain't gonna happen. Nope. If you dispatch me on a load, you gonna put me in contact with the broker. That broker is gonna then email me directly. And once I get the rate card from that broker emailing me, when I'm finished with that load, I'm either going to invoice that broker or I'm going to send it to my factoring company. You ain't handling no paperwork whatsoever. You ain't handling no money. You bill me at the end of the week for your services. I'll book the load. You can be CC'd on everything. So you know that I actually got the load that you sent from this broker at the rate. So that way you can keep up with the rate as well. And then you invoice me at the end of the week for your percentage. And then I'll pay you once you invoice me for your services. Well, we normally handle the paperwork. I said, no. I manage my own money. I'm not letting somebody else manage my money. That's how truckers get scammed out here. They run a load and they wind up, it was a double broker load because you didn't check. Now you can't get paid off of something. That's crazy. And I'm not signing no paperwork with you, giving you, authorizing you to use my MC numbers for anything. So you can forget about that too. You can find loads all day long, but then you put me in contact with the broker once you then did this particular rate. And then we'll confirm everything up that way. Because I'm taking all the risks. I'm not sending you no BOLs, no signed BOLs. You ain't getting none of that stuff. You're going to just invoice me based off the rate cons that I didn't got off these loads. You just will get CC'd on the load, so you know I actually did it. He sent the rate con to me, and this is the rate con, so you can track your numbers. Well, we really don't do business that way. Well, that's the only way I do business with a dispatcher. You ain't finna be handling nothing. No. So I think I'm going to start just telling him that. Because he was like, well, all right, brother, I'll talk to you later. I said, no problem. Remember, you ain't my brother, too. So don't call me brother. Because you're not my brother. So I think that's what I'm going to do. When we talk about the money, I'm not sending you no BOLs. And I'm just going to tell them how I would do business. And maybe then they'll stop calling me, texting me. Because then they'll text me the next day Hey, good morning. It's so and so. We talked yesterday. Do you need a load for today or tomorrow? What's your zip? Where you at? I'm like, you still trying to generate the business after I done told you I booked my own loads. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Let them know that they ain't handling no money. They're not getting no BOLs from me. No signed BOLs at that. Mm-mm. Well, we'll send it to your factoring company and this. No, you want to book a load using my MC number. Then you want me to send you the BOLs, the signed BOLs, want the load and got delivered. Then you said you gonna send them to my factoring company on my behalf. No, a week. No, no. That's how you got some of these people. And then I see a lot of box trucks people who stuff be getting all tore up too. Because they be falling for these dispatchers and taking these loads, and they're not getting paid for these loads and wondering why they're not getting paid for these loads and they waiting on their money. No, you getting got. No, I follow my money. I'm in control of my money. Even when I started the lease, that's why I went to a lease company where I can book my own freight, so that way these brokers are sending me the rate cards. And I send those to my dispatcher. That's how that works. That's exactly how they work. I'm in control of my own money, my own destiny. I don't want nobody to be in control of my money but me. So when I lease, if I failed that lease, it was going to be because of me. It wasn't going to be because of my dispatcher. And you got to go through 3, 4, 5 dispatchers because you arguing with your dispatchers and stuff. So no, I didn't do that. No, I booked my own loads when I leased. That's why I did not fail at leasing. And like I always say, if you falling or failing at leasing, that's because you chose the wrong lease company to go to, where you can't control your money. Because that's a big thing. When you can't control your money, you got to believe everything they say. But when you seeing things with your own eyes, negotiating your own rates, you know exactly how much you get. All right, man. Y'all take it easy.